Hey everyone, thanks for joining today. I'm so excited to be joined today by our wonderful customer from the great state of Texas, Akia King. She's part of Yes Prep Public School Systems in Houston, Texas. Welcome, Akia. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So, Akia, could you please tell us about yourself, about your role, and a little bit about Yes Prep Schools?
Yeah, sure. So Akia King, I'm the managing director of talent, which means that I lead our talent acquisition and then our traditional HR talent support functions for Yes Prep. And then a little bit about us. We are a Houston-based charter management organization. So we have at this point in time over 20 secondary schools as well as brand new elementary schools. So two additional elementary schools that are happening next year and serve over 14,000 students. And next year we'll have close to 1,700 staff members.
Awesome. So that's a pretty big workforce. So Akia, how do you do recruitment for the school system, and have you done career fairs in the past?
Yeah, I mean, not quite a career traditional sense, not that we have led. We usually are out, at university career fairs, but we will have recruitment events. Pre-pandemic, those events would happen in person. We would invite principals to come out to that space and allow candidates to kind of walk around, meet one-on-one with principals, and then have an information session where we would share more about Yes Prep and the roles we were hiring for.
Awesome. So a few months back, you decided to go virtual, and you came on board Cynaptx. So how did you make that decision? What made you choose Cynaptx, and what was your journey like?
Mm-hmm. As an organization, we use Microsoft Teams, and we have used it for the last couple of years, so all very familiar with it. I knew that we needed to host a virtual job fair and wanted something that was going to be easy for our principals. I've used some of the other really great external sources and knew that it was just going to take a lot of time to get our principals up to speed on them. I was looking for something that could with Microsoft Teams. So funny enough, I actually just Googled. I'm like, there has to be something out there that maybe Teams has capability to do, and immediately on Cynaptx took a look through the website. I had a conversation with you and was sold pretty quickly on it being the right tool for us.
That's great. So, how did the setup go about your virtual career fair? How did you ensure that all schools, principals were prepared, and candidates, when they come to the fair, they were well prepared?
So prior to the event, we had all of our principals set up their booths. And so each of them went in and created a booth for themselves where they had a lot of fun, really like showcasing who they were. We
Hmm.
let them know, just like in a regular space, people are going to want to see all the flashy, exciting stuff, add links and logos and things like that. So they really got into creating their own unique spaces that you could see on our site. Um, and then basically they were prepared at that point in time. I just let them know what the structure of the day was going to be like and how they would be accessing the space.
Hmm.
For our candidates, it was a little bit similar. So for our candidates, it was pretty simple as well. They just needed to create their profile by registering for the event, and then to go in and update information about themselves. And the one thing we asked them to focus on was really just attaching a resume.
Hmm. Awesome. So, how was the experience overall? Did you feel that you met your goals? And could you also talk a little bit about how was the experience with the product? What was some of the things that you liked most about it?
Yeah, we had a really great experience with it. I think it really kind of exceeded our expectations, especially considering that we implemented so quickly. So we implemented in about 3 weeks from the point in time that we had a conversation with you to the time that we needed the event. Maybe it was about 4 weeks, close to sometime between 3 and 4 weeks. But it was so easy. I mean, you provided great support. The team provided great support for us. It allowed us to just go into the site. The site is so user friendly for us to just be able to click around and see exactly what we needed to do. And we had a small team, so it was a couple of my teammates who all had their own roles. So I, on my team, was able to have one who was focused on candidates, and so she was going to do all the candidate outreach and making sure they were set up. I focused on principals and getting them set up. And then one person who just focused on like actually being able to like get people processed. And so having us internally be able to kind of set up in that way just made it really smooth and really easy for us.
That's great to hear. And what was the feedback from your end users, from the candidates and principal? What did they have to say about this virtual event? And did this experience is this helping you decide the course for next event? Where do you want to go from here?
Mm-hmm. Our principals gave us overwhelmingly great feedback on the event. And so usually we hold events in person. And if we're going to invite out all of our principals, especially because Houston is spans so much is such a large area, we really try and make it worth their time. And we knew that with this event, it being virtual, it was going to be a lot easier for them to just be flexible with their timing and whatnot. And they really enjoyed it because it was so easy for them. They're used to Teams. For them, all they needed to do was just log right into their Teams calendars, see who the next person was that they were meeting with, engage in that conversation. So for them, it didn't feel like any major lift. And they just really had a great experience and gave a lot of really great feedback, probably more than I've seen for any of our other events. And then candidates had a really great experience as well. Of course, for candidates who are used to the Teams platform, it was going to be a little bit easier for them versus ones who are not used to it. But in general, now, I think a lot of people are very adaptable to the different tools that are out there for virtual interview spaces. So no major issues at all.
Awesome. So, Akia, finally, what advice would you have for organizations that's trying to pivot to digital solutions? Everybody has some reluctance, some hesitations to move forward. There's some concerns. I mean, do you have some learnings, best practices that you want to share that can help these organizations make that decision?
Yeah. I think what I would say is to first identify your need. What is it ultimately that you want to do? And then who are your stakeholders, right? And so for us, our stakeholders were really our principals. Those were the people that we wanted our candidates speaking to. We were limited by the pandemic, so there wasn't an in-person option for us. But let's say in the fall, when we're really thinking about what we want to do next, like I said, Houston is so large and our principals are spread out so far, and they have such significant commitments that for them, when I think about our next event, I would want to think about like, what type of flexibility do our key stakeholders need? What type of flexibility do our principals need where they can feel like they can engage with the most amount of candidates at the most time? And so we, even if we are back in person, anticipate us continuing to do this like virtual interviewing or virtual spaces because it allows us to talk to the most candidates and have the most amount of stakeholders with the most amount of flexibility, which ultimately increases productivity for our principals.
Awesome. And we are so proud to be a partner with you on this journey when you are planning to go in this hybrid mode and also continue this to expand the reach of your candidate base. So we are so amazingly proud to support you on this. IKEA, thank you for being a wonderful customer. We really appreciate you. And we are honored to be working with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Take care.